Guys, we are going to work on practice sheet 17. So we're going to look at number 1. This is the one that tends to scare people. I noticed on the test this was missed most. A problem similar to this. Maybe you have a really good idea of how to do it, but you're just kind of making a mistake on that last step. So let's see what we can do here. So hopefully we know our first step is, here's our x, what's next to it? Plus. What's opposite of plus? Minus. So most of us, I feel, are good, at least on that first step. Okay, I didn't do anything funny here. This is all normal subtraction. Okay, and we get 20. Making sure to keep my inequality sign. As you can see, I almost put an equal sign. Okay, now, here is where we generally mess up. Okay, so I have a number next to a letter, a number next to a variable. That means multiply. To get rid of multiply, we do divide. And remember, when we do divide a fraction, we do keep, change, divide to multiply, flip. And remember, we've talked about this. We do this to force this to go away. Okay? I'm literally flipping it so that that will go away and this will go away. Okay? So, and again, like I said, a lot of you, you're there and then you just kind of mess up here at the end. We do not flip our symbol because we did not multiply or divide by a negative. Now, I want you to stop for a second, and you can do this one of two ways. If you know you're not good with relationships, then I want you to multiply 20 times 7, put it on top, 1 times 2, put it on bottom, and then you'll have to divide that. Okay, if you are good with relationships, then you're going to notice, well, 2, it's an easy number to work with, and it works right with 20. So these both divide by 2. So the relationship is 2. 2 divided by 2. 20 divided by 2. And some of you even get this far. And normally if you get this far, I at least try to give you half credit. But then, I don't know if you just don't multiply, something happens there. So this is a 10, by the way. So 10 times 7. 70 over 1, which is 70. Now, if you didn't do that, if you did it the other way without the relationship, then you probably got 140 on top, 2 on bottom, and when you divide, you get 70. Okay? Now, some of you, I'm not sure what you've been doing with your number lines. I think it's you're trying to plot these, but remember, our number line is just here to kind of guide us. So we put 70, right? And then this is positive, so just normal direction. 2 to the right, 2 to the left. And I'm not looking here, I'm just going to be like, okay, well, after 70 is 71, 72, before is 69, 68. Okay? And remember, when you do not have the equal sign, which we do not, this is x is less than 70. That means you put an open dot. It means it cannot equal 70. It cannot equal 70. Okay? And then with our variable first, looks like we're going to be shading this way, though it's pointing to the left. Okay, remember this works because our variable is on the left side, or I like to say the correct side. Okay. So x is less than, this is all less than. So basically, anything less than 70. It can be 69.88888, 69.99999, but it cannot be 70. And it can be any negatives. Every single negative would work. Okay, so your job is then to do number 2. Okay? Okay, we're going to read number 3, but we're not going to do it together. At Bookmart, you can buy 4 books for $9. At Reading Place, you can buy 5 books for $11. At which store are the books a better buy? So remember, you're looking for the store, so your answer at the end is either going to be Bookmart or Reading Place. So what I want you to do is divide this to find the cost of 1 book. Divide this to find the cost of 1 book. I want you to do cost per book, and that will tell you which one is the better buy or the one that costs less. Okay, so we are going to do number 4 together and 5. So number 4 says, Kathleen was buying ribbon to make costumes. At Craft Plus, she can buy 15 yards for $6. So, I mean, I know my brain is trained for this, but the first thing I see here is 15 yards for $6. This is a rate. Okay, so important. If Kathleen needs 25 yards, how much will the cost be? So we're looking for the cost. And it says set up and solve a proportion. Well, that was one of the first things here, is that it says rate. So when I have that rate, that helps me set up my proportion, right? So proportion, remember, we do line equals line equals line. I don't know if I quite gave us enough room to do this. Our first line is always our units. Second one is the rate numbers, that initial rate, and then we match up everything else. Okay? So let's look at our rate. It says 15 yards. So there's my units for $6. Okay? And my numbers that I'm going to match here, my rate numbers, because it says yards, guys, 15 yards for $6. And then we have one other number here. It says if Kathleen needs 25 yards, so let's look. Top or bottom, looks like it's going to go top. And X will go on bottom because I'm looking for cost. Notice cost is on bottom. Okay? So, let's cross multiply. So that part, 15 times X is 15. X. Over here I need to multiply 25 times 6. Please make sure you're asking if you do not know how to cross multiply, guys. This is one of those things, it's going to come to be important as we move forward when we do percents, things like that. 6 times 5, 30, carry the 3. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 3 is 15, so I have 150. Okay. Then we're almost done. Divide by 15. Okay. And a lot of you can do this in your head, that step, which if you can, that's great. If not, we just show our division to the side. And normally I would write this out, but you're about to see why I don't. 15 won't go into 1. 15 into 15 goes 1 exactly. 0. 15 into 0 will go 0. Make sure you put that. Don't just put 1, okay? It's 10, okay? So it will be $10 for the ribbon, okay? And that makes sense. I'm just going to look back up here. If $15 is for 6, so I know 30 would be double, which is 12 if I wanted 30, but I don't need 30, I only need 25, so it's going to be $10. Okay, last problem. A tire on a toy car has a diameter of 13 inches. What is the circumference of the tire? So when we see that word circumference, that needs to kind of be something to trigger in your brain that we need to use our formula chart, okay, which you can see is in our Google Classroom. So right here, circumference 2 pi r. R stands for radius, or pi d. Well, our problem is giving us diameter, so we're going to use pi d. And remember, pi, we don't want to let that to scare us. It's right here. It tells us what to use, 3.14. And it also says it in the problem. I noticed that they normally actually do that when testing. They tell you what they want you to use for pi. So we're going to write down C equals pi d. Okay. Pi is 3.14. It's not a variable, but a lot of times we just kind of treat it that way. Diameter is 13. Okay. And guys, this is all I have to do. I have to multiply 3.14 times 13. I want you to try to do that by yourself. So 3 times 4, 12. Carry the 1. 3 times 1, 3 plus 1 is 4. 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, now did you do the second row? If you didn't, make sure you hold your spot. 1 times 4. 1 times 1. Don't need that one anymore. 1 times 3. 2, 8, 10, 4, and our second to last step, move the decimal, 1, 2, 1, 2, and let's make sure we put our units for our final step, 40 and 82 hundredths inches, and it's inches because circumference is a distance around.